maybe somewhere different.
Well, where we're going to play
now
is pretty important. We've seen 2 villas so far. Well, we'll bring up the map bans here for you this time around and see exactly if we're going to go to Villa. No, it's banned out very early on by EG, so we will have a new map on the board. And it's quite a new map, actually. We're going to have Kafe Dostoevsky.
It's my first time casting a Kafe match.
That's right. You didn't see it for North America. We saw it in Europe every time. So I got a good grasp on this one. I got a good grasp on the
I'll follow your calls on the locations because I don't know it yet.
Newly renovated, once again back open for business. I guess you could say if that business happens to be killing one another in a simulation, a counter-terrorist simulation, or
kind of
whatever Rainbow Six is as an organization.
I mean, these players do make money doing it, so it's,
the players do, and there is business to be had here through the 12 rounds between these two teams. EG is going to look for a shot at redemption. My assumption heading into the matchup on Playday number 1 was that they would come out banging on all cylinders. Very hot and inspired from what happened against Empire in Milan. But that wasn't the case. Maybe that's because Reciprocity always has their number, but Rec came out and looked quite good. The Sonics struggled. They struggled against Dark Zero, who looked like a much better team over the last 2 seasons. They just picked up Hyper. It still remains to be seen what their ceiling is with him over Jarvis, who he replaced. But we'll see. Who do you think? It's quite a lopsided one. 84% in favor of Evil Geniuses, 6% draw, and 10% of you believing that the Sonics have what it takes.
That's the first time in a long time we've seen the draw be so close to one of the team's percentage. Yep. 10 for Sonics. 6 on a draw. That's, oof.
It's not that the draw is high, it's that the Sonics percentage is actually quite low. The thing that the Sonics struggled with that I'm going to be looking at here, one of the notes that I made prior to heading into this matchup, was that the Sonics didn't have a dedicated fragger in that actual matchup. Super top fragged, if I remember correctly, but I don't even think he went positive. I remember he went exactly even. Everybody else on the team, and this is something that I will check when the match is on and get confirmation on, but I believe everybody else in the team went negative. The problem is that you need somebody to help carry some of that weight. Rogue has 2 gentlemen who do that quite well. EG also has that too. And we know that there's players on the Sonics who are capable of carrying a team if they need to. They're up against some pretty tough opposition this time. They're going up against the teams that are 1 and 2 in NA from last season, Dark Zero and EG. So there's quite a bit of expectations on this Sonics roster, and they've got tough competition too.
Yeah, I think going up against Evil Geniuses is not a great situation for the Sonics, that's for sure, but it's what you have to expect when there's only 8 teams in your region. So, I mean, you're going to have to play them. There's no way around that. So, I just think if I'm in the Sonic shoes right now, I'm going to try and get as much out of this match as I possibly can. That would be my sole focus, is just what can I get from playing Evil Geniuses, because the expectation here is really, I think, well, the community vote kind of reflects it for I think most people. I mean, 84% was I believe for Evil Geniuses. So yeah, I'm not surprised by that at all. And it's not the sort of one that I want to just laugh at all the time. It doesn't seem that crazy.
I don't want to write off the Sonics at all, because I believe that when you look at the core of the roster that Sonics has, they have the opportunity to beat any team in North America. This is Pro League right now.
Yes.
Almost every single region, with the exception of, I think, a couple outliers, every team is capable of beating every other team. It depends on the circumstances, the map ban stage, the operators that are banned, the actual matchup. Is it an aggressive team versus an aggressive team? Is it a team that plays well against aggressive teams? Is it a team that plays well against passive teams? There's a lot that you have to consider when looking at this. And while, yes, 84% of people might think that EG is going to be the hands-on favorite here, I don't expect that it's going to be that lopsided a matchup where the Sonics only take 10% of the rounds.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be something like that either. I do think that this is, like, there's no way that Evil Geniuses just comes out with a 7-0 here. I just don't see that happening. But I'm just wondering, what the Sonics are going to have to show for us. It is also, this is very worth noting, we're going on to Kafe. And no matter how much you've practiced on the TS, on live build after it came out, this is still a new map. So it is going to require some refinement here from Evil Geniuses, and it will, in my opinion, give the underdog, which is unquestionably the Sonics, a little bit of a leg up in this match. So potentially that could be a factor. And I think this is the best place for the Sonics to find themselves on because of that.
Right. You're going to be on somewhat even footing here, even though EG was a pretty good Kafe team back in the day.
They were.
Going far back. I mean, they quarreled against Penta. They quarreled against Rogue. Rogue was probably the best Kafe team in North America and one of the best Kafe teams in the whole world for quite a long period of time. And EG was able to keep pace with them despite that. But I think you're right. The question is going to be what happens with this map? What happens with, you know, is it going to be too new? How are we going to see strats get pulled out for these teams? Well, EG doesn't always play Montaigne. We've seen Canadian actually surprisingly on Montaigne a couple times, but we won't for this matchup. EG realizing that an operator that has been employed by the Sonics in the past is too powerful a tool to work against. They'll take him off the board. Additionally, Sonics will answer with a very quick ban on Jackal, and then another very quick ban, this one falling on Mira.
I really like the Montaigne ban. I think he's just a very powerful operator on more linear maps. This Kafe is less linear than it used to be, but it is still somewhat so. And that's going to alleviate a lot of the pressure the defense will feel on those hotly contested points. It will also allow you to challenge places like Piano a lot easier if that is what your game plan is. So we'll get right into it now. We've got those bans done. And it'll be Evil Geniuses starting on defense as we saw based on their bans.
Cocktail Lounge seems to have, I guess, solidified itself as the go-to defensive site. It's up in the air as to what's next. There's been a very close debate among teams, and when you look at the pick rates as well on the different sites on Kafe from all we've seen so far, as to whether it's the first floor or whether it's Reading and the dining hall site. This was similar to Clubhouse, if you remember. Clubhouse's bar stock on the main floor was the second most defended site. It gets reworked, and now it's the least played site by a mile. Kafe is the same. The actual mining and dining sites on the second floor seem to have fallen out of favor with a lot of the teams.
Yeah, I mean, I know that mining is still a site that people are comfortable going to, but it's still not... It was... Okay, the reason it was so popular in the past is because it was just more viable than the bottom floor. But the bottom floor is a comfortable site now with the recent rework, and I think given that, there are a lot of teams that would rather go there because it's new, and again, it's upsetting to those who are not really jumping on top of learning the new map. So it mostly comes down to how much time you've invested, but sometimes these new things can trip people up. Now, we've got Sonics bringing the Gridlock, and Gridlock, we've talked about this in the past. I talked about it briefly. It really is. I mean, she's an invaluable operator. She's just very specific in what she does. She can lock down locations efficiently. For example, in this case, it's probably going to be by the red stairs that you see the Gridlock used most. Just throw one of those Gridlocks on the staircase itself, and then you effectively cut off that as a rotation. And it's more important than... It's better than a Nomad in that you have to, as a defender, either use up a lot of bullets and give away your position, or use up an impact and give away your position. So it's louder. It's more obvious to the defender, but it's also louder.
Yeah, the audio cover that is provided by the track stingers, that are the title of Gridlock's gadget, is extraordinarily loud. She's very powerful on this map. We saw G2 utilize her to great effect, and a big part of it was they would cut off the narrow rotations with those stingers. Think, for example, throwing 2 of them inside of the back, the bar back storage. Where do you go as a defender when you're in that position? It becomes a very difficult prospect to get yourself out. In this matchup, though, as we were in North America and not Europe, EG's main focus was on holding Piano. And they're going to confront the Sonics actually quite aggressively. Great play from Geo, and he'll net Neptunes, and what little was left of the Sonics. As you can see, Neptunes falls. He only had 50 HP, so it wasn't that much of a crushing blow, but Geo from down below, holding the Nitrocell in hands. It's a very common C4 to toss up in that direction.
Yeah, so actually, turns out, by the way, just quick, you were right there about Sonics in their match earlier. Not a great result in the first play day for North America. Evil Geniuses have a lot of control, and especially after taking out Neptunes. Now, this is going to be a one for Avian, though, as NVK gets a little too aggressive on the white hallway. Trying to use his shield to the best of his ability, but it's not really that powerful in that position. Canadian, though, on a long angle is going to take down Goddess, who just doesn't even check. And that's really unfortunate for Goddess and her team.
One person on one balcony waving to the other across the site, but Goddess was looking down, not across, and that was why Canadian capitalized off of that. Still in a position now with this ACOG where he can just rain terror. Safely nestled over by the actual cocktail lounge call. Waiting and watching with the diffuser down. Somebody will need to retrieve it, and the Sonics are just running out of time. They don't know where Necrox is, but then they find out at the last second it's Avian, but Super and Ghost fall to Young and Canadian, and there's just no time left. Sprinting on in, but the clock strikes 0, and EG will take the very first round, and the defenders will finally win something here today.
Well, different map at least, so makes sense. But yeah, that was a really stalwart defense there for Evil Geniuses, as you would expect on the top floor of Kafe. It is the favored bomb site. It's going to be Kitchen next, so this is a pretty standard rotation, or so it seems right now. As Kitchen has been, again, one of those sites that people like going to. I think it also has to do with the fact that, okay, when you're dealing with Mining Room, it's a site that's sandwiched. So the attackers have the option to either go upstairs or downstairs or both. And it opens up the opportunities quite a lot. When you're dealing with the bottom floor, there is no basement. You know, it's not like they're going to come from below. They can do very little vertical destruction on this site. It exists, I believe, in some places, but at the same time, it is extremely limited. And thanks to that, on Kitchen, you're really just dealing with one axis, and that's a lot to ask for as a defender. That's like a happy place on defense. So Kitchen has become comfortable. Top floor has always been comfortable, and it's even better now. So yeah, this site rotation making a whole lot of sense for me from Evil Geniuses, and I think it will definitely, as it is very new, this is important, the fact that it is new, will offer us a more defender-sided map overall.
Yeah, the general consensus is that if teams don't have strats or if teams don't know the map, the defense will win.
Yeah, it's
as a rule.
Yeah.
There are exceptions to that rule, of course.
It's a rule of thumb.
Yes. Now, with the Kitchen defense that we see, usually the focus tends to be on the main wall and then the wall over by red stairs. The wall that leads into Freezer over by white stairs can be focused on, but we haven't really seen that much so far. There's the red stairs wall that I was referring to, and in the right side of your screen, you see the bakery wall right there as well. Usually, you'll have a Thermite walk in and try to take both of those. Whether there's some active tricking, either from a Bandit or from a Kaid, is up to the teams and the way they play it. Also, Europe tends to play a lot of Castle, at least what we saw so far on this map, to try and waste as much time and utility as possible, as Castle does. The thing is that for EG, they've doubled up on Denial, tripled up actually. They've got a Bandit, a Mute, and a Kaid, so they're going to do their best to try and stop the Sonics from walking right on in. Additionally, they've got control of the second floor in hand, so EG's map presence and map control is good for the time being.
So the tripling up on the Denial makes a lot of sense given what we know about Kitchen. What we just talked about with this site is how important the horizontal is. If you can deny these reinforced walls, then I mean, how do you even attack this? We've seen Sonics take control already of the main lobby. MVK is trying to poke holes in that right now with this long angle from the red staircase, but he might not know about his opponent just right next to him. There's a delayed peek here from Super. He's going to try and cross to site. A curious decision. He'll get picked off by Young, but at least Necrox has been felt. So Evil Geniuses are not in full control of the situation just yet, but they are certainly in a great spot. All that the Sonics have managed to do is open up that Freezer wall.
And they did so without having a Thatcher available any longer. So if they want to take any other Denial away, they're not going to be able to do that. All the while, NVK being as sneaky as he can, he'll drop Goddess, but not be able to finish her off. I think that's as much as he's going to get as he heads out, knowing that there's going to be a presence for trade from Sonics. Goddess will likely be picked back up, and she'll get 20 HP in the process.
That's fine.
But it'll be lots of time that's wasted in the interim. Goddess still hasn't been picked up just yet. And there she go. She's back up, and Canadian will now position himself to possibly move on in, but Neptunes has the cross for his team. So EG trying to cover the freezer, they get a little bit too close. NBK comes right back down. He'll get Ghost this time. As Goddess, where is she? She's the only one left, as there goes Neptunes too. And EG finds themselves poised to be able to take a second round in a row. She'll crouch walk her way down, but EG will get quite aggressive trying to figure out her location. She's not inside of the site. NBK hears her. A pre-fire around the corner, and EG will take round number 2 as well.
So that was a pretty one-sided affair, all things considered. A big part of that was NPK's role. He managed to stay on the roam and use those staircases to just, like I said, poke holes in the attack of Soniqs. When Soniqs didn't have any answer back for NBK's position, the round was basically over. The initial try there was from Super. He was playing to contest the red stairs. If Super had challenged N1 against the Jaeger of NVK on those red stairs, we might have seen a very different round, because then the crossfire would have went in favor of the Soniqs, because they would have been able to deny any play in kitchen, allowing for the push in through freezer. However, that was not the case. NVK, with some great situational awareness, excellent retreat there, and then a later just damage done from the side, was very impressive.
Soniqs just didn't look like they knew how they wanted to attack that site.
Yeah.
They didn't invest any time in possibly forcing somebody out of that second floor. They didn't even really commit bodies to the second floor with the way that they needed to. And they stacked up a little bit too much on the periphery of the site, and they got picked apart slowly, one by one by one.
Well, remember when I said that Kafe is it's a new map, and you have to learn how to play it. Sometimes, if you're the underdog team, you can have an advantage over your opponent because, the map being new, and maybe your opponent doesn't know the map very well. Well, again, defense favored in that situation, and also it doesn't seem like Soniqs know the map very well. So it goes both ways. It really does go both ways. So, yeah, that attack had a lot of holes in it. I'm sure Soniqs will fix those up as time goes on. We're going to see probably the same thing from Evil Geniuses when we switch over to the second half, so it's not a crazy thing to have happen. Now, heavy roam upstairs here from EG. Maestro and Echo both left unbanned, and that is very important. Doesn't usually happen. Valkyrie being the ban from EG instead. Kind of interesting. You would have expected that to be where probably the Maestro ban would come out for North America.
Yeah.
Unless playing against a Latin American team. And this is not an international land, so.
So we'll see if the struggles from the Soniqs to clear out the floor above the site will continue in round number 3, because we're looking at a reading and dining hall round. So once again, mining and dining, not going to be the site of the incursion here.
NVK trying to contest this top floor to the best of his ability. And he is going to be successful. Neptunes goes down. Okay, well, that's basically for free. That's going to be 20 HP for Neptunes. He's probably going to get picked up, but still, damage done. It's actually through a Habana Excaros hole, I believe. That's really unfortunate if you're the Soniqs. Working against yourself there, in a way. Long angle being played here from Young. He's just waiting for an opportunity, and he'll probably get it in the next 30 seconds.
It's a very tricky angle. It looks like there might even be 3 walls in between him. Neptunes is going to continue to lose more life, but he frags with it anyway. NBK, who had been good for the last round, and this round too, will be the one who falters and gets dove upon by the sledge, as you could hear a frag grenade get tossed out a little bit earlier. So it's going to be some of the gadgetry used alongside of that L85. Young is now in a position where he might be able to get a kill of his own, but it's forced out by a grenade going over top. Very good preemptive shot, pre-fire onto Neptunes as the EOD freezes everybody, and Ghost capitalizes, 2 kills, and he'll head for the hills now. Well, Geo and Canadian now on this site, just waiting for the tide to crash upon them, and the Soniqs entry has been marvelous. Much better than what we saw on that first floor.
Yeah, the Lion EE1D was really the star of the show, and that take allowing Ghost to get the double kill that he did. Now, Evil Geniuses could still win this. It's not over yet. There's only 25 seconds here for them to have to hold out, and Soniqs do have one lit player in Ghost who had got those kills previously. Here comes the EE1Ds, though, to make this nice and easy for the Soniqs. Yokai drone in a position to deny the plant, and the plant is starting to go down from Goddess. Will the Yokai be successful in shutting that off? Yes, it will, but only the first time. One kill for Geo, but he's shut down by Ghost. EE1D could clutch this out, though, in just a second, and it might actually... Oh, no! Great timing there from the Habana. It means a retake is in order from Canadian. He's going to narrowly miss the second kill there. Avian with some excellent cover, and the Sonics will take the first round.
That was interesting, because the clock definitely looked like it was on 0, right as they went to attempt the plant. Coming down by the skin of their yellow country teeth there, so...
I think there's a grace second, isn't there?
There may be. I mean, it certainly looked like they were going to be able to get it. But smart play from Soniqs to get off the plant, shoot the yokai, and then immediately get back on it. You make that decision a millisecond too late, and there goes the round.
Yeah.
Valiant effort from EG, but Soniqs, their entry, their roam clear, was what they needed when they attacked Kitchen and couldn't get. When they attacked Bakery and they couldn't get. It's harder to do on Cocktail because you can't really clear from above. A lot of teams will try to drop through the hatches, control the cigar area, control red stairs, or maybe even go from below. But the Soniqs were very good at provoking fights, and they utilized Lion to perfection. They stopped all of that third floor presence from EG, and none of them were able to retreat. None of them could move. A fear of being detected by the Lion. And what happened? Ghost walks right in and gets 2 kills that are probably among the freest he's ever had.
Yeah.
All because of one usage of the Lion. Impeccable play from the Soniqs.
So, we're going to see Evil Geniuses go back to the top floor here. Now, they were looking very comfortable the last time they were on this top floor. There were a lot of free kills given away by the Soniqs. Goddess at the top of that new drop down from the roof was definitely one of those as an example. But if Soniqs can avoid that, take fights, maybe win some of them, then this could be a very different story. It was just the case of, I think, the Soniqs not really being in the right place at the right time in that first attack round. So, again, an attack here onto the top. They're going to be focusing on opening up these drop downs early on.
EG running a very similar lineup last time. They had Necrox posted up at the cigar/piano door, playing as Ella. You want to take those fights at close range. Perfect opportunity to do so. Additionally, there's going to be some play on that second floor. You can see some reinforcements down over towards the mining hall side of things. You likely imagine that somebody on EG is going to try to be playing safe down there. But Necrox gets baited in. And there's a play off of what appeared to be the piano windows. That's going to eliminate Necrox. Now, he did throw out some of those Gushmat mines. You see that there's one situated over top of the door, but it's gone. Avian, who got the kill, will also get the Gushmat mine with the EMP going off. The reinforcements down below are likely to give Geo some protection, as the Pulse can play quite safely and not worry about getting pre-fired. It definitely appears that he's down there as well. He's playing over by the train portion, leaving NVK up top in what's referred to as pixel spot. He's playing by the shield, and he's going to be frozen in place yet again. That's the second EOD, if my counting is correct. Destruction will go around him, as Geo just trying to give the calls that he can with the cardiac sensor to assist the rest of his team. And it'll be an Echo drone to come to the rescue of NVK. Still holding this angle, but his position will be known as a drone skirts by, and it's up to the Soniqs to now force him out.
NVK takes down Ghost. He's been playing this position on Pixel pretty well. Got some great bullet holes waiting for an opportunity. Avian has already made it all the way into Piano, though, and Canadian's likely to call this out right about now. And yes, indeed, there's the call. The mark as well, but NVK loses the fight because his tracers betray his position. Evil Geniuses in a bad spot after NVK goes down. C4 will miss from Geo, which means that vertical denial doesn't exist anymore. NVK can be salvaged, though, and he will be. Avian going to try and deny that, but he'll be unsuccessful in that endeavor. And it's a full retreat here from Evil Geniuses. Even man count, but HP advantage EG right now. NVK is lit, but look at Soniqs HP. Neptunes and Avian just on the floor there, thanks to Geo's efforts. Doesn't seem that he's aware of that, but it doesn't really matter. With only 20 seconds left, it's not going to matter. Soniqs probably will barely be able to pick him up, if at all. Young using the gas canisters to great effect. Goddess going for a plant on default spot. She's denied by Canadian inside a Freezer. That's a great angle to play. The fact that Freezer's still in control of EG is huge. And another one for Canadian. He gets aggressive on the Skylight, because why not? He's going to get a third to end out the round as Geo takes down Avian. It's EG to lock that top floor absolutely down.
Once again, the struggles from Soniqs just to be able to enter correctly. And it might just be an issue with Cocktail, or it might be just an issue with them pushing from one direction. I don't know about you, but it didn't seem like anybody from Soniqs took that first or second floor. It didn't seem like they tried to ascend any of the stairs. They never had control of white. They had some control of red just simply because of the hatch above it, but they were never firmly able to grasp piano either. And it was NVK that was playing behind that shield, even though he was spotted a couple times and had the yokai drone at his disposal. He just existed for quite a long period of time, and there was no answers from the Soniqs. I don't know if it was just that the ADSs were in place. There was no, lifelines to blow open that shield. I'm not entirely sure. The Lion hasn't worked as effectively over the last couple rounds as it did on the round previously in Reading, where Lion was extremely strong at pushing everybody from EG off of that third floor. And because of this, Super's now going to go to Nomad instead of the Lion. He's still searching for his very first kill. He's been playing in largely support, but he's in position to possibly win out some fights here and there. He hasn't been successful in doing so far, but the game is still very far from over. We're only in round number 5, so 2 more rounds of the defense for EG before we switch. And the rotation that we saw through the first 3 rounds will continue onwards. Cocktail, Kitchen, and then presumably Reading should EG prevail here.
So, Kitchen expected to be an EG round, but again, see, we're all learning this math. 1 step at a time. Kitchen expected to be an EG round. However, the way that EG managed to win this last time was thanks to the efforts of NVK. He was playing on the roam, and you can also anticipate Soniqs not letting that flank happen again. They're probably going to try and clear out the second floor, if not from top to bottom, before hitting the site. I have a hunch that in the long term, with Kafe, when attacking the bottom floor, the first step is going to be clearing out top floor. Like, I'm surprised it's not happening already, to be honest, with Soniqs right now. I would have imagined that would be the case already, but I think it's just going to be a matter of time. Teams will figure out that, oh yeah, hey, we do like we do on other maps. We start top floor, then clear down, and there's no way for the defenders to rotate back up. But we're not there yet, and because of that, Evil Geniuses have so much free reign on these top 2 floors that it's allowing their roam just to wreak havoc.
Keep in mind that NVK has done an exemplary job of staying under the radar on Kitchen the first go-around.
Yeah.
And it seems to be the case this time, too. Soniqs have invested some drones. There also looked like there was 2 bodies on that second floor trying to hunt him down, yet NVK has not been discovered. He was involved in that original altercation, but he's going to just continue to stay on these brown stairs. And he finds Super, but what a play by Super. Walking away, charging in and taking control of the situation, leaving Geo to try and tap away with the SMG-11, but the recoil is just a bit too strong. This also looks like it might be an exothermic charge taken out by an Electroclaw, as Necrox is now moving over to maybe try and deal with Super. So EG will have to plug this hole that was left in place by NVK dying. NVK was also the savior towards the end of the round on Kitchen last time by just existing on those brown stairs for the entirety of the round. Locking in is Avian, who didn't appear to be droned at all. Necrox will get the very easy kill as he drops him inside of Reading. Throws a goo mine out onto white stairs, then Necrox can move on out. He and Geo are patrolling the second floor with 2 bodies from EG down below, and a 4v4 with just about a minute to go.
Neptune's on such low HP is going to make this difficult. Geo has seen a little bit of damage. Ooh, look at that nasty angle. And speaking of, Necrox takes down Neptunes at the bottom of those main lobby stairs. Beautiful shot there. Expecting Neptunes to try and contest the staircase. The Roamers still being, well, Roamers is really bad for the attack right now. And the Anchors are fighting back too, as Young gets 2 for himself using the shotgun DMR. It's just Goddess in a 1 versus 4, but make that a 1 versus 3 as she starts to enter into the site. Canadian in a great spot, but loses the fight to Goddess on a sliver of HP, and she'll be finished off by Geo. Evil Geniuses, flawless on the top and bottom floor of Kafe.
And they won't be able to go here yet again. So the presumption, as we'd said, was that EG will likely go to Reading now. Soniqs were much better on the second floor that time around. But as close as they got, the old saying is close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. You didn't manage to do much more than that. And while you wasted a lot of time and you wasted a lot of utility from Soniqs as EG, it was Soniqs who closed that gap a little bit more. Keep in mind that if Goddess hadn't gotten those 2 kills, it would have essentially been a 1v4. It was out of reach at that point, and barring a hero play from Goddess inside of a site with a lot of angles to cover, very difficult for Soniqs to come back from that. So, with EG having prevailed on Cocktail and Kitchen, but losing Reading, they're going to opt to go to the site that Kafe used to have as their second most common prior to the rework, which is the mining and the dining halls, or fireplace as it's referred to as.
So, Evil Geniuses just overall having a really banger of a match so far. Super, the top frag for Soniqs in the last match, not having a good one here so far. But again, this is to do, I think, primarily with the fact that we are dealing with a newer map, defender-sided. It's just how it, that's just how it works. So, not terribly surprising. Now, Evil Geniuses are extending themselves up to the top floor as is expected on a middle floor defense. You kind of have to do this. It's going to be mining room instead of the reading room here. The other site on the middle floor. And this is definitely still just as defensible. It's just a little bit different in terms of how it's overall set up and held. But the primary focus is going to be on that second floor roam. It's one of those maps and one of those bomb sites where you stick to the roam upstairs a lot more than you would on some other maps. It's something you have to really apply your focus to. Soniqs have managed to make it to the roof. It's taken them actually a minute to do that. And they're going to start opening up the drop downs, looking for their enemy.
Soniqs utilized Lion to essentially clear out this third floor last time, and they're going to try to do the same thing again. Young gets detected, but he's behind a reinforced wall. His position is given away, but there's going to be no opportunity for the Soniqs to be able to take him out of the action. Also going to see what the anchors can muster for EG, because last time it came down to a second of Canadian almost being able to stop the plant with the yokai in play. This time around, as long as the IQ and the Thatcher stay on the board, then it's going to give them a fighting chance against the gadget-oriented defenders. Still, upstairs as your linebacker, you've got Maestro, who's going to take most of the HP from Ghost away. He's going to fear getting pushed from below. You got Geo primed for a run out as well, and he'll get it. He takes Avian down. The bird shot out of the sky as Neptune's also falls at Young's hands, but Ghost takes out NVK, so you've taken some of the presence off-site, waiting for the Thermite of Goddess to possibly peek around and meet her maker at the hands of Young. She drops a beautiful shot from Goddess. Oh my, Young didn't even see that one coming. And there's no opportunity for a refrag because the EOD will stop EG from being able to take up any more ground.
Geo's in a really pivotal spot here, holding on to the reading room, losing one drone there to the Mozzie, and because Necrox is still alive, he's going to jump right on top of that, getting that drone out of dodge, using it for information moving forward. That's really good to have late in this round. Well, the longer it goes into the round, the more effective those drones become, similar to the Yokais, where it's just information aiding the defenders to a ridiculous extent. And we only have 25 seconds left. Here comes an EE1D. EG weathers that storm relatively easily. Ghost on low HP. Legion Trap's being hit here by Super. He barely has time to pull it out and start hitting onto the site. It's going to be a B execution, it looks like, and Necrox and Canadian are ready to receive it. Super narrowly avoiding death, and he's going to get one down. Can he find two more in 2 seconds? No. Geo shuts him down. Evil Geniuses, 5 rounds in the first half. 5-1 total, and, well, we're moving on to the defense half for Soniqs.
I think you're absolutely correct. You said the word execution, but I don't think you meant it in that particular way, which was an execution of the Soniqs.
Double effect there.
The EOD took out more from the Soniqs than it did from EG as they pushed right into the line of sight of every single member of EG who was waiting to greet them with open arms. So we'll switch sides with EG up 5-1, and it'll be a fireplace and mining room defense, or fire mining and dining, however you want to call it, as it's colloquially referred to as, for the Soniqs. They'll start things off on the second floor. That's very interesting. A lot of teams either start on kitchen or cocktail.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. You wouldn't expect it. That's probably why the Soniqs are doing it. But, all right, neat. Then it'll be mining. So, there you go. Which, you know, it means that if they win this, then they still have their top floor, they still have their kitchen, which are the go-to and the more reliable bomb sites, so that is a win. But it's certainly not it's just, you know, it's just focused on a trip up, I think. And also, I'm guessing the Sonics have a specific strategy that they have established on this site that they're really confident in. Sometimes you get that. Sometimes you're practicing a site on a map, and you're like, wow, you know what? We really know how to defend this site. We should do it more often. And that might be what's going on here. We'll see. The castle setup is interesting. The way that they're opening up the red hallway wall, not revolutionary, but to be sure, but interesting. I do like what's going on here from the Sonics. I'm curious to see if it'll work against Evil Geniuses. Lion being brought here from EG as well. So this is the same thing that the Sonics were doing, or pretty much just the entire attacking half, and the same thing that we've been seeing from a lot of other teams in both in North America. I've only casted North America this week.
And Latin America coming up as well.
Yeah, I'll be doing that at the end of the week.
We'll be doing that, Michael.
We will be doing that. High five.
We will be. High five, buddy.
There you go.
The castle setup on Kafe is designed like every other castle setup, waste time and waste utility. First Lion's going to go out, 45 seconds, EOD. Everybody's frozen in place for the time being, as EG have made their way onto the first floor as well as on the roof, just watching the hatches from above. Very similar to the way that EG played this site, there's quite an investment on that third floor. Unsurprisingly, that's where you're going to want to hold your map control, and Neptunes goes out swinging. I don't know what he was intending to do there, but you can't help but think that's maybe a bit of a mistake.
Yeah, it didn't work no matter what the intention was.
No.
So that's -1 on the side of Sonics, and it only took EG about a minute to get that done, thanks to Sonics. EG also starting to work their way into Cigar. Lots of information being dispatched here. Those default cams, and the EE1D detecting a player running down those white stairs. Goddess going to get a kill onto Necrox. That's, ooh, the Lion gone. Beautiful shot to Goddess, must have been, and with that done, Evian's going to stack on top of that as Geo goes down. So this is getting worse and worse for Evil Geniuses here. Could be that Sonic start to turn the tide of this battle, thanks to the fact that they are now on defense, as it should be, really, in this situation. The vertical pressure, though, and presence from Evil Geniuses is great. They have managed to work everybody from the Sonics out of the mining car room.
It's going to really rely on the adaptation, I feel, that comes out from EG here. Not all hope is lost. You're in really tough position, and the Sonics look like they're in a strong spot to just ride this out, just based on the utility that they still have left, the gadgets that they still have left. But you've got good gunners on EG's side of things, and that always goes in your favor when it comes to these kinds of events. But EG's going to have to hurry. They don't have a lot of time. They're trailing by 1 body count, and, well, they've got 30 seconds to get in towards the site and continue to move. Young does hold the diffuser in hand, so if he needs to, he can go for the plant. But he seems to be trying to get in towards the site. No, Goddess guns down Young, so that's diffuser down, so EG's just simply going to be committed to a frag fest. Canadian falls, and NVK will need to look right or look left. Choose your poison. There's somebody there looking. In this case, there's just too many angles for him to cover. Ghost is going to be the final member for SQ to be able to get a kill, and the Sonics will take their very first defense on the second floor.
Are you feeling a draw right now, Parker? Because I'm just getting this weird tingling sensation, and it's draw.
Is that what it just speaks to you?
Yeah.
It just says draw. Very
vibrations.
Very quietly, it says draw.
Earlobes.
Yeah.
Draw.
Draw.
I don't know. It's like I could feel it coming. I don't know why, but this whole attacker sided, defender sided day that we've been having seems like it's just gonna lead us into a draw. It'll be kitchen for the Sonics. Bottom floor.
I mean, I think it's too early to call it a draw.
It's definitely too.
It's only 1 round.
It's definitely too early, but I'm still. I don't know. I'm making kind of a Hail Mary prediction here. I guess nothing concrete. Just a spidey sense tingling sort of sensation. Who knows? Maybe not. I mean, EG did put themselves up in a really significant lead early on in the first half. They won all but one of those rounds. However, I don't know. There's just something to be said about the confidence of being on defense in this map. All right, so another new interesting setup here on a new and interesting bomb site. NVK is inspecting this castle barricade setup and will relay it to his team. So at least there's no upset factor to how EG decide to conduct themselves. But at the same time, it is still going to be Sonic's environment that they are comfortable with and practiced in.
I think you said it best when you said because it's a newer map, it's going to tend to skew more towards the defender side of things. And
yes,
I don't think we're going to see anything, you know,
I don't know if
other than that.
I don't know if we can really say that that's going to be a draw because of that. But at the same time, yeah, it certainly is defender-sided. So it is a realistic option. And I feel like we're cursed. So Avian playing inside a bakery, trying his best to hold on to that bakery display case. Necrox on the upside down repel can get an angle here on the head if he gets a little bit lucky. Mark's coming out. Here's the peek. Avian loses a little bit of HP. There is a dock in play. EE1D going to make that Avian stand still. And VK will eliminate Goddess elsewhere. So, okay, no more dock in play. And Avian's already taken a lot of damage, so that's really unfortunate. As, okay, well, Evil Geniuses have full control of this round. And there's 2 minutes left.
Soniqs just getting punished by the Lion and additionally playing a little bit too liberally, I feel. When in 45 seconds, you managed to take out 3 members of the defense. Well, that's either a rush strat from the attackers or the defenders getting a bit too brazen.
In this case, the latter.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I guess I stand corrected. Spidey Sense was wrong, but right now it is looking like we're having a match point. And, yeah, there it is. So that's, I believe, a perfect round. Did I miss one? Maybe? No, it's flawless. Look at that. It says flawless for us now. I like that. So, okay. First of all, I was wrong. I don't think that anymore. I do think that round really just comes down to Soniqs kind of tossing it away, to be honest with you guys. How are EG getting kills when they haven't even set foot in Bakery? What is going on?
That's a question, right?
Right. So why are the Soniqs peeking Bakery, trying to hold Bakery, and I just... It's a questionable strategy there from the Soniqs, for sure. We're going to go to Cocktail. This should be a win for the Soniqs, and we should go to 6-3. But we'll see. It depends on if Soniqs decide to try and peek everything and lose fights. Because that's what we saw last round. That's straight up it. I mean, it took a minute to get 4 kills. Less than even, maybe, so I don't know.
It's been a quick affair so far. But we thought the same of match 1, and we thought the same of match 2, so...
Who knows?
I mean, this would require quite the effort from the Soniqs in order to do, you know, a draw here.
They do have the favored side.
4 rounds in a row?
I mean, it's possible. It's certainly not inconceivable. Not inconceivable. The last 2 matches, that's exactly what we got. We got 5 rounds in a row.
Last 2 matches were totally inconceivable.
6 rounds in a row. It was just streak after streak for both teams. Well, 4 teams, 4 total teams. They each had a streak. And
trapped, ensnared in the draw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the memes are strong right now, by the way, out there for SSG especially, because they had the same thing last season.
They were born in the draw. SSG was born in the draw. Everybody else just merely adapted it.
Yeah. You think it gives you strength.
Draw better than us.
You think it gives you strength. I can't do that voice. Can you do it?
I mean, sure. I don't think this is the appropriate place for me to bust it out.
I want to hear it now.
Soon.
Soon, TM?
Later.
All right. Well, Evil Geniuses. They're setting up pretty standard here. Just trying to take in through those red stairs. And the Mozzie pest will be dispatched. It's too close to the doorway, and the angle should be achievable here from Young. We'll see.
Don't know if he got the drone, or the pest drone or not, but he has another angle available, and there goes the spider. Oh no, our little spider friend. Even though it's only it's 4 legs. It's more like a crab, actually.
Thank you. Wait, do crabs have... No,
crabs have like 6 or 8 legs? I don't know.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm not a crab all in.
What has 4 legs? But like
a centaur, a horse?
No, but
dogs,
but you know what I'm talking about in the
lions.
You know what I mean.
Tigers, bears.
Oh my.
Oh my, indeed.
Evil Geniuses creeping the geometrics into the bottom floor, trying to catch a flank on a top floor defense. It's possible. Looking for those roamers. One playing pixel spot. ADS in hand, and that's a free kill for Avian, just following the arc of those flashes. MVK goes down, and there you go. Soniqs are in a good spot now.
And that's the ACOG-equipped G36C as well of NVK, so he was designed to possibly take long-range fights if he wants. I would suspect that most of EG will probably have ACOGs at their disposal. As Canadian falls, an EOD will get burned, and Geo will just very tepidly make his way up the stairs. He might be joined by Necrox, who's watching to see if there's going to be a push onto Geo at all. And a pre-fire just to see if they can try to ward off anybody in that position. They know somebody's playing on white stairs. So Geo is there alongside the Lion of Necrox, but he might have blinded his own teammate. Avian falls, and the last EOD will go out here. An angle being held by what appears to be Neptunes, and down goes the Jaeger. So it's a 3v3. And with Geo losing HP, similar to where Goddess is, these teams are basically even at this point, but 30 seconds will decide the fate of this round. A beautiful shot from Necrox as down goes Geo, and it'll be Necrox and Young versus Super and Ghost in a 2v2, 20 seconds to go. But Ghost still has one toxic canister left. He throws it in the wrong direction. There's a Maestro cam that'll be watching as Necrox will now have to do Overlord. Young going for a plant. Smoke will go out. Will he start to lose any HP? No, it's overthrown by Ghost. The C4 will hit the wrong target, and the diffuser will go down as Ghost takes out Young. It's a 1v2, and Necrox cannot miss here. He'll get pushed from 2 angles, and Ghost will clutch with the final 2 kills, giving Soniqs the round, and they'll stay alive for the time being.
So top floor goes the way that it ought to, but very narrowly. You were right when saying Necrox couldn't miss there. He did, unfortunate. Hit the bars, and then the follow-up was against shotgun SAS, close range. Not going to happen. Good job there to Soniqs on the retake, not allowing the plant to go down unpunished. Young not being able to get off of that diffuser plant was really what ended up costing EG the round. Apart from that, it was also a good punish on the initial entry upstairs. Soniqs with a pretty decent setup. But they can't go there anymore, and now they have to go to the basement. Well, not basement, just the first floor, I guess, or floor 0 in some cases, depending on where you live. But a site that was not friendly to the Soniqs the last time they were here, and it mostly comes down to how they chose to play it, which was way too aggressive. Just wow. So that shouldn't happen again. You can expect Soniqs to be a little bit, well, I mean, we can all expect it. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. We can expect them all to be much more passive in their setup, in their play, and give away less picks unnecessarily.
The Soniqs needed a fragger to emerge, and while they have it in Ghost, but Avian and Goddess are not too far behind. And somewhat impressive that Goddess is being able to keep pace, given that the roles that she plays aren't usually heavy fragging operators. But whether it's the Thermite or the Maestro, she's been quite effective actually in a lot of scenarios that they've thrust her into for the Soniqs. It's going to be very difficult in this particular, I guess you could say, site for the Soniqs because they struggled mightily last time. And Lion is coming out again from Necrox, so we saw how effective they were at pinching the members of Soniqs who were off-site. Imagine that you're going to see the same utilization there this time. But ACOG's being brought from the Soniqs. They can play these long-range example or long-range angles from both Neptunes as well as Goddess, and then it's got denial in the hands of Super, who's been more of an utility player.
That's under red stairs. Did you see that?
The shot that she was making, the opening?
It's on red stairs, man. Because Avian just crossed on that angle. That was a really cool angle.
I mean, there are maps that have been in this game since the start, and people are still figuring out cool angles, right?
Well, it's a new wall with the one that she's shooting it through, technically, but yeah, it's just really neat. Just through 2 different walls. So, nice angle for Soniqs to establish there. Evil Geniuses starting things off 1 minute. They got to the roof, and they're going to start probably, I think they're going to do a top-down clear. So this is what we were talking, or what I was talking about earlier when I said, yeah, I believe eventually teams are going to start clearing from top to bottom. Well, EG seems to already have that in mind when it comes to this kitchen defense. You know, you get the roamers all pushed down to the bottom floor, and then you don't just isolate the staircases. It's really easy affair in attacking under the site when you don't have to worry about being flanked. Okay, well, that was almost a free kill.
Ghost narrowly losing his head to NVK. Going to see if he can possibly follow up on it, and Ghost has actually been down through the wall.
The Twitch drone is in play here. He doesn't know he downed him, and he'll be docked. That is a clutch dock right there. Free kill for Geo, though, as he pushes in thanks to the EE1D.
Avian dispatched on the white stairs, and the Maestro will give his position away, or her position actually, or his position. It's Neptune's actually on it, not Goddess. This time, a great shot from NVK will finish off Ghost as he downed him earlier on, and then a C4 goes out on a Canadian. Neptune's position given away. He'll try to move on over as he's in VIP. He's just watching the rotate hole. NBK had been dropped but picked back up. So for EG, they've lost one body. It's in Canadian, but they still find themselves in a good position. 50 seconds to go. Where's the Maestro playing off site? Can't do the work with the F2 in Gio's hands as Neptunes will survive a scare and head back to the bottom of the stairs as Young knows what is and isn't in sight. It's going to be Super and Goddess to hold down the fort. Here Gio hit a goo mine on the way on over, and Young will just try to belly crawl his way in. There's a body on his right that he might not know of. His Super is felled inside of the site. They still need to figure out where Neptunes is. Young will dump some utility in, and there's going to be two different bodies trying to push. Neptunes might be spotted as he tries to get back in towards the site, and EG have 20 seconds to work with. But they haven't been able to figure out where the Maestro is yet. This hesitation from EG might cost them on what is match point. Young will try to get the diffuser down. Looks to be successful. Just a couple seconds left, and the Maestro will cross on over. It's Necrox there, and Gio will finish it up. And no draw here on Kafe Dostoevsky. It'll be EG on a 7-3 scoreline, putting away the Sonics, and EG picking up their first victory of the season.
So good job to Evil Geniuses managing that 7-3. Draw did not happen, as you said. Okay, so overall, the Sonics, the way that they were setting themselves up, some of those rounds were just questionable, especially that first defense of the kitchen. That one, above all else, was just a big old why. I'm not sure what the thought process was. It cost them a lot, but more importantly, the Sonics just couldn't win any of their attacks. They won just the one single attack on Reading Room, and it's just not enough. You can't. You gotta at least get a few more rounds out of your halves than that. When you're dealing with a map that is, yes, it's new, but it is also a very well balanced map. And in time, I think it will be one of our closer in terms of attack or defense. So, yeah, EG had some stalwart defenses. Sonics just didn't have any answers on attack.
The Sonics have some work to do because now this is their second dropped matchup in a row. They had very hard opposition, both Dark Zero and EG. Welcome to Pro League, or welcome back for every single member of the team. Welcome back to Pro League. How about facing the number 1 and number 2 teams from North America last season? There you have it.
Yeah.
But the Sonics have 92 Dream Team up next week and then Space Station after that, so it might not be an easier path over the next couple weeks. They've got work to do, and they've got till Monday to be able to accomplish it. For EG, there were some of those rounds where it just didn't look like anything was stopping them, be it on attack or defense. And you're right, it really could come down to the map, and we don't get to talk to the Sonics on the broadcast. We can talk to them after the fact.
Yeah.
But the real question is, were you prepared for Kafe? How confident were you on it? Were you expecting to play it? Because if they got beat in the map ban phase and they weren't used to playing Kafe and they weren't as well practiced on it, this might not paint the appropriate picture of where the Sonics are as a team.
Yeah.
They might be much better than this showing.
Well, we do have an interview, I think, or you have an interview with Canadian.
I have an interview with Canadian. We'll bring him up here and we'll talk to him. How are you doing, Troy? Nice to see you.
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. First interview for you not in the basement, I believe, with the Canadian flag in the background. You were at the facility, I believe they call it. First and foremost, congratulations. Since you were the first team in North America to play on Kafe, I just want to know your thoughts on the map right now. Where does it place? Defender-sided, attacker-sided? What sites do you prefer?
It's definitely defender-sided. As far as the sites, I think you can really just play anything. I think it's down to how your team likes to play. I think more like in-your-face aggressive teams like definitely prefer Bakery. I think like teams that like to hold the long angles prefer top floor, and then just like the second floor sites for teams that like to rotate around a lot, I'd say. So I think it just depends on play style and preference, but it's definitely a defender-sided map.
Perfect. Do you think it's something that's going to change over time, or do you think it'll be a map that just holds that defender status for a while?
I think every map, when it comes out, tends to be more defender-sided. It's just kind of the nature of it. I think it's harder to figure out how you want to attack things. It's more straightforward to just set up a defensive setup. When you're going into attack, it's more reactive because some attacks won't work against some setups, so you kind of just have to figure out how the other team's defending first and what kind of the meta is, and then you can respond with attacks. I definitely think it kind of pans out that way. I think history has shown that maps start out more defender-sided. Even Coastline, I think, was initially more defender-sided than it is now. So yeah.
Now, you brought up a really good point about being, prepared for whatever your opponents have. Were you anticipating playing Kafe today?
It was one of the maps we were expecting. We didn't know which map for sure, but we knew Kafe would probably be be in there. So.
And when you're playing a map that you haven't played before in Pro League, I'm sure you've scrimmed it many times, and you're going up against a team like Soniqs, who maybe you've scrimmed them a lot, I'm not entirely certain. Do you prep more for the map? Do you prep more for the matchup? Do you prep more for the team?
I think Kafe, generally speaking right now, like you just kind of have to prep your own game plan on it, and then obviously stay flexible in game. Because like no one's going to have the perfect strats on this map yet. That's how you learn maps. You play against other teams, see what works, see what doesn't, and it takes time to kind of develop. Obviously, it's a rework, so teams kind of have a better grasp on it initially, but I think that's just how things pan out usually.
Perfect. And one question I wanted to ask you, coming off of the Milan finals, if I can bring them up for just a second, what was your team's biggest focus after the finals ended to get to the point now to start off Season 10? Because now most of you, from my understanding, are moved in together in Seattle. What was the primary focus for you heading into the next season of Pro League?
I mean, we just didn't treat it too differently. Just kind of, I mean, you just got to forget about the past and move on, prepare for the next match, next season, next tournament, whatever. So yeah, just one match at a time. Knew that we had to learn some new maps, kind of get used to new operators, stuff like that. So just kind of back to work, one map at a time, figure things out.
Perfect. Well, you figured it out today. You picked up your first victory of the season. Congratulations. Anything to say to the fans, etc., as we end the interview?
Nothing in particular. Just thanks for the support as usual. And just happy to be competing again. See you again next week.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.